Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the European Soccer Show. I am your host, the ghost of Steve Jobs, but with me is my fellow turtleneck, Léo Aschi. Hello, bonsoir, Léo. Ça va? How are you?
Hey, Steve Jobs, how are you?
Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, pretty good, thank you. Pretty good week, and a very exciting week in the world of football/soccer for our American cousins. So on the running order today, we have the Premier League back at the top. Ha ha ha! I'm going to dive straight in. So on Saturday, Brentford managed to squeak out a 3-1 victory over Burnley. It was 0-0 until the 81st minute, and yet 4 goals in the last 10 minutes. Very exciting stuff. Manchester City almost threw away a 2-goal lead. They scored in the first minute. It was the fastest goal of the whole season up to this point. But they threw away a 2-goal lead. Leeds United equalised. Man City then won it with a late Phil Foden goal. Sunderland came from behind, 2 goals behind, against Bournemouth to win 3-2, which included one of the best goals for a losing team I've ever seen. Tyler Adams lobbing in from a good 40 yards. Everton won, Newcastle United 4. Newcastle finally have an away win this season, and they went into a 4-goal lead. They then scored the fastest goal of the Premier League season. Again, hectic Saturday. And the last game of the Saturday, Tottenham Hotspur's home woes continue, losing 2-1 at home to Fulham, conceding 2 goals in the opening 6 minutes. On Sunday, Manchester United's good form continued. They were awful in the first half, but they managed to turn it around, winning 2-1 at Crystal Palace. Aston Villa's excellent form continues with a 1-0 victory at home over Wolves, who are doing what Wolves do best. Nothing. Nottingham Forest lost at home 2-0 to Brighton. West Ham United lost 2-0 at home against Liverpool, who finally won a game in the Premier League. And the big match of the weekend, Chelsea won, Arsenal won, which is where we're going to start. So Chelsea, the Arsenal game, it was a spicy first half. I think there were 4 yellow cards in the opening 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And a red card for Moises Caicedo in the first half as well. But despite the red card, Chelsea were the better side, weren't they? Both with 11 men and even with 10 men.
As you mentioned, it was a very intense and entertaining, to be honest, because I don't think it was spectacular because of a lot of goals or anything, but it was quite enjoyable to watch this clash with a Stamford Bridge of the big nights in English football. So it was a good show, and as you said, I think Chelsea played the best football. Maybe we can explain that because, of course, Arsenal had a tough week facing first Tottenham, then Bayern Munich in a clash between 2 of the maybe 3 best teams in Europe at the moment. And now traveling to Stamford Bridge is never easy. So yeah, but if we don't, we will talk about Arsenal, of course. But the biggest point is that Chelsea played a great game. I don't know what you think of that, but
well, if you remember last week, I asked the question: Are Chelsea the second best team in England? But they've had a hell of a week, obviously defeating Barcelona.
Yeah.
And of course now drawing with Arsenal with 10 men and actually being the better side. Has everything shifted for Enzo Maresca? Because it was only about 6 weeks ago that he wasn't necessarily under pressure, but people were questioning his style of football. It was a bit stodgy, despite the £1.4 billion of investment, whatever it is. And yet it seems to be coming together. So after this week, are they the second best team in England?
That's a tricky question, as usual from you. So I'm not. I know you, but yeah, maybe they maybe are because we know that against they seem to have find the recipe against the big teams. We saw that at the Club World Cup when they played Paris Saint-Germain with high pressure. We saw that against Barcelona the midweek with Reece James masterclass, in my opinion. Again, against Arsenal yesterday. So yeah, they know how to play against the big teams, and I think their main purpose now is to play for the title, because I don't think they started the season saying, okay, we will maybe we will maybe try to win this with Liverpool, Arsenal, maybe Manchester City. They want to found back the way to European football, certainly Champions League, but I don't think they expected to be competing for the title.
Well, looking at the top of the table, Arsenal now on 30 points. That's 3-0. Manchester City second on 25. And then Chelsea third on 24, level with Aston Villa, who have really, really recovered from the start of the season. So obviously, we talk about the second best team in England, because Manchester City, though defeating Leeds United, did allow a 2-goal lead to slip and have looked vulnerable, and actually had a very poor week, losing at Newcastle and then losing at home to Bayer Leverkusen, making 10 changes in the Champions League. So I suppose also the question of them, are Chelsea the second best team in England? Well, officially they're the best team in the world. But also teams like Manchester City and Liverpool have dropped in varying degrees of standard. But it does seem like there is the possibility of another team to rush forward, much like Liverpool did last year. We were talking about another title race between Manchester City and Arsenal, and yet Liverpool snuck in. So it does feel like there could be another possibility, maybe not for the title itself, but certainly for the second place.
Yeah, but in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but Manchester City are second in the league, no?
Currently, yes, but
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So City are 1 point ahead of Chelsea, but my point being that Chelsea seem to have more consistency, sometimes underwhelming, but they are consistent, whereas Manchester City kind of burn hot or cold.
Yeah, and that's where the paradox is, in my opinion, because against Leeds they didn't shine bright. They needed great performance from Phil Foden, scoring at the very beginning of the game and then at the very end of the game, and go watch his second goal. Very interesting. But yeah, it wasn't an easy game for City. We've mentioned last week the next fixtures for Leeds United, and they almost took 1 point at the Etihad, so it was a great performance from them too. Yeah, and looking at the goals City conceded, it reminded me a little about the last season's goals they used to concede from mistakes, individual errors. So, but last year they didn't necessarily won those games. So, if we want to see that like an improvement, it is.
Looking at the bottom of the table, so actually before we do, so there is a 5-point gap between Arsenal in first and Manchester City in second. And there is a 5-point gap between Manchester City in second and 10th place, I believe. So that just shows, again, sort of like how compact the middle of the table is. And in fact, it goes all the way down to 14th. But looking at the bottom, obviously there's a huge gap between Wolves and Burnley. But there is now a gap between Forest in 16th and 15th place. In Fulham, which is also 5 points. So there seems to be these two gaps right at the top of the table and between 15th and 16th. So it does appear that Forest, West Ham, Leeds, Burnley, and of course Wolves are the teams fighting relegation because that gap is building.
Yeah.
Have Forest and West Ham stalled? Because obviously they needed that new manager influence, and they got a few results to get out of the relegation zone. But they have stumbled this week. Or do you think it's just a one-off, having faced decent opponents? West Ham faced Liverpool, and Nottingham Forest came unstuck against a really good Brighton side.
Yeah, Brighton. We don't usually talk about them, but they are playing great football this season.
And up to fifth place. Level in points with Sunderland.
Yeah, which is extraordinary in the Premier League for now. Concerning Forest, I think they will play against Wolves midweek. So there is a good opportunity for them to grab some points. And maybe, because you talked about the fact that 5 points separate Fulham from Nottingham Forest. So maybe Fulham are inconsistent. They are capable of winning some strange game, like it was
Well,
against
very
Tottenham.
true. However,
Yeah,
again, it was a few weeks ago we were talking about which teams might slip back into it, and Fulham were mentioned, and since then they've won 2 on the bounce, I think. But of course, really impressive win at Tottenham
yeah,
this week. So it does feel that Fulham have that ability to show their quality in certain matches.
yeah.
Again, having that gap of 5 points does suggest that perhaps they would be safe.
But I think we have to mention the fact that Tottenham lost this game because of Tottenham. If you watch the start of the game with the 6 or 7 first minutes and the 2 goals conceded by Vicarios, it's like by Vicario, sorry, it's like a joke because
Well, let's bring that up actually.
yeah,
Since we're talking about it, so we were going to mention Tottenham's horrible home form. So obviously, the first goal, Tete scores in the 4th minute, a deflected strike from the edge of the area, and then only 2 minutes later, Harry Wilson scores. Gorgeous finish after Vicario
yeah,
loses the ball, trying to keep possession outside of his box, and Wilson managed. It was actually a lovely layoff for him as well to kill him from the byline. So Thomas Frank criticised some of the fans who were booing Vicario for that performance. Do you understand the booing, considering, first of all, how bad Spurs' home form has been, but also if you consider how expensive their tickets are to go and watch these matches? And this isn't just under Thomas Frank. You go back to the obviously last season under Ange Postecoglou. Tottenham Hotspur have only had, I think it's 5 home wins to celebrate in the last 12 months. That's disgraceful when you consider the season tickets are over £1,000.
yeah. I completely understand the booing. To be honest, they conceded. If you just take the 3 last games, they conceded 11 goals in these 3 games. They hadn't won a single game in the Premier League for months. So, of course, it's not what a team like Tottenham should do. When Manchester United lose all these games, we can see we can read a lot of articles pointing out at Ruben Amorim, pointing out at their weaknesses, and Tottenham are in. I will not say in the same situation because Manchester United, I think, they are bigger than Tottenham. So the fact that the media's, of course, they will talk more about them, but what Tottenham are doing for now a few weeks has been so poor.
And yet put up quite a fight against Paris Saint-Germain midweek.
Yeah,
So before we head off, a quick word on Liverpool. Liverpool finally got a win to end the rot. Alexander Isak getting his first goal in the Premier League, and Cody Gakpo getting a second goal in stoppage time after Lucas Paquetá was sent off for 2 very quick yellow cards for dissent. But obviously, he seems to be going through his own thing after the betting investigation into him. So a word on Liverpool. Were they better without Salah?
I think if they were not, they were maybe more consistent, as you mentioned. Because for those who hadn't seen the game, Mohamed Salah was put on the bench and he didn't enter the pitch. It was I saw a statistic. It was the first time since 2020 that Mohamed Salah didn't play a single game as starter or as a substitute. So it was a strong message sent by Arne Slot, in my opinion, especially given the fact that Liverpool extended Salah's contract a few months ago, and it was one of the main talking points last season with Van Dijk's and Alexander Arnold's. Yeah.
And I was going to say, just partly we just could figure conscious of time in the Premier League. Obviously, so much happens, so it's quite hard to sort of keep it concise. But a last word on Wolves: 2 points only. Now, the lowest ever recorded points total in the Premier League era were Derby County, who managed to only get 11 points back in 2004. Off the top of my head, I'm not actually sure about that. Genuinely, do you think Wolves will get more than 11 points? Because obviously Southampton almost beat it last year and then squeezed over the line with the with the penultimate week of the season. Yeah, is this are Wolves at risk of being the worst team ever
That's
in the Premier
so.
League?
Yeah, of course, but why not? Having only won two points after 40,
And also
30
to
or
add on
40.
to that, have you seen any reaction after the change of management?
No, that's the main problem. The fact is that when your management decide to change, the coach is to provoke something on the team, on the players, and they appointed O'Neill, who know the club because he previously be a manager there, and nothing seem to happen. So there are a lot of concerns about the situation. It's maybe too soon in the season to say they will be relegated, but if we are being honest, and I think Wolves fan are, yeah, Wolves are
They
going to
are
be
currently
relegated.
8 points. That's the biggest gap in the league by far. 8 points between them and 19th.
Yeah.
And 9 points between them and safety. Well, sort of. 10 points, but 10 points behind safety, really. So it's not, especially when you consider the goal difference. So, yeah. Okay, let's park the Premier League there. And as we go on to La Liga, and you say the notes there, Real Madrid sound the alarm indeed. Something stinks in the capital. So on Friday night, Getafe defeated Elche 1-0 for a precious victory for Getafe as they move pretty close to European football. On Saturday, a great match between Mallorca and Osasuna played out 2-2. Mallorca winning 2-0 until the 82nd minute, and Osasuna managed to claw it back in the last 10 minutes. Barcelona 3, Alaves 1. Alaves actually took the lead in the first minute of this match before goals from Lamine Yamal, Dani Olmo making it 2-1 before half-time, and then Dani Olmo also getting the third goal in stoppage time. Levante 0, Athletic Club 2. Their rebuild continues. Atletico Madrid 2, Real Oviedo 0. Another victory for Atletico. On Sunday, possibly the match of the whole weekend in any league. Real Sociedad 2, Villarreal 3. A fantastic match where the lead changed twice, I think, or 3 times. And Villarreal winning it in the 5th minute of stoppage time through Alberto Marrero. Sevilla lost at home to Real Betis, a painful one for that. 2-0 to Real Betis there. Celta Vigo 0, Espanyol 1. And where we're going to start, Girona 1, Real Madrid 1. So this is, correct me if I'm wrong, the third draw in a row for Real Madrid. And it has coincided with media reports about Vinicius Junior's fallout with Xabi Alonso. Excuse me, and not just Vinicius Junior. If we can read the report saying that actually up to 8 different players in the dressing room have fallen out with the manager already. It's hard to argue. Oh, sorry, and I should probably point out Rayo Vallecano and Valencia played tonight. Yeah, it's hard to argue against the fact that this is distracting the team because the results speak for themselves. They played poorly midweek. They beat Olympiacos, but it was close. It was at 4-3. In Athens. So yes, first of all, this has got to be a distraction, isn't it? And secondly, how on earth do they get out of it?
As you mentioned, they have drawn their third consecutive game in La Liga yesterday, and they have now dropped 6 points against teams in the bottom half of the table, which is obviously too much. First, when you want to win a title, a champion title, when you face teams like Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, and it's a terrible run for a club like Real Madrid, who absolutely needs to win this ties. So yeah, there is a problem. I think yesterday it was clear that there are some problems. First, the technical level of the team. Maybe when Kroos, when Modric, when Casemiro, and they left, we maybe didn't think their replacements would be so different from them. because we are talking about one of the greatest midfields in maybe football history. So yeah, we've seen that Bellingham, Güler, who play in the same area on the pitch with Mastantuono. Valverde is not in the greatest form of his career, so they have a lot of problems.
Well, sorry to interrupt. A word on Valverde though. It probably doesn't help that he keeps being pushed out to right back.
Yeah,
because obviously,
but
if you got to keep form in a central midfield position, you have to play him in central midfield.
yeah, of course. Even Chouameni is a good player, but all the squad seem to be unpredictable. And if you are going front, Vinicius doesn't make you win games. Rodrigo is experiencing a terrible run. I saw a statistic. He has not scored in La Liga since January 19. So basically almost a year for a player at Real Madrid and an attacker. It's obviously to.
It's also mad the fact that Rodrigo was linked with several clubs across Europe, including in the Premier League.
Manchester City, I remember.
And they nothing was done considering how his season's gone. It feels mad that not more was done to find him a new location.
Yeah, I don't know who will accept because he is valued at around 80 million. I don't know which team will accept to pay this at the moment because of course the European football finances are at least difficult. So I think they will Xabi Alonso's work will be very difficult, and his team lacks stability, both in its playing system because it changes a lot, and its choices of players. And I think, yeah, they lack quality.
Yeah. Well, let's move on for Real. Let's have a quick word on Villarreal. So their match against Real Sociedad. Villarreal took a 2-goal lead with goals from Jose Perez and Moreo either side of half time before Carlos Soler and Barrenetxea equalized. But then again, Moreo getting that late goal. Villarreal keep finding these results. So looking at the top of La Liga, Barcelona are now top on 34. We'll talk to them in just a sec. Talk about them in just a second. Real Madrid on 33, Villarreal on 32, and Atletico on 31. So 4 teams all separated just by 3 points. We have it. We definitely have a 4-way title race. How much longer can Villarreal stay in this? Because they are not dropping. In fact, they have the second longest win streak across all 5 European competitions, European leagues.
Yeah,
which is for a club like Villarreal.
Yeah. And which is funny with Villarreal is that they have 2 faces. The one in La Liga where they're unbeatable, and the one in the Champions League where I think they were defeated against Paphos. And they
yes, of course, yeah.
maybe have one or 2 points in the Champions League, so it's quite funny. Against
the 5 wins in a row, though 5 wins in a row in the La Liga speaks that something's good, something's bubbling, something's ticking there. And actually, if Real Madrid's form continues, they may well be overtaken by both Villarreal and Atletico.
Yeah, and even just to finish with Villarreal, even against Real Sociedad, they were leading 2-0, and then La Sociedad scored twice. So we could have think Villarreal could drop points and maybe lose against Real Sociedad, who this past weeks have been have good results, but no, they pushed and scored the third. So they have something, especially in La Liga, as we said, and maybe they will play until the end for the title, which is, of course, difficult when you have these 3 powerhouses in front of you.
Well, as we mentioned, Atletico also winning 2-0, but the leaders, Barcelona, a real shock that they conceded in the first minute. But of course, the funny thing is, if you concede so early, you actually have lots of time to to actually get back into it, and actually essentially do what Barcelona do, which is dominate and eventually wear teams down, especially from, I was going to say lower down the table, but that's a bit unfair for Alaves, who are actually having a pretty decent season. Barcelona in a funny position, aren't they? Because it feels like they've been caught out a little bit, especially in Europe, with their ultra high line, and more teams are figuring them out. But it does feel like they are still pretty good against lesser sides. So I say, would that be fair?
I think yes. Once again, it wasn't a really convincing performance from Barcelona this weekend, especially after having lost 3-0 to Chelsea in the Champions League. But with Real Madrid being drawn, it was 3 really important points, especially since they will host Atletico de Madrid tomorrow in a clash in La Liga. So very important win. I think the main positive point for Barcelona is the return from Rafinha. I don't know if you watched the Chelsea Barcelona game on Wednesday, but we saw that as soon as he entered the pitch, something changed. He had a lot of energy. He ran to the ball. He presses. A lot of things that I think missed Barcelona. And once again, this weekend against Alaves, he did the same thing. He assisted one goal. So he's the captain of the team. We need to. It's important to recall. They also had Joan Garcia back on the pitch. Pedri and Frankie de Jong are expected to return soon. So I think yes, the second part to the season will be better for them. And Hansi Flick, I think he believes it too.
Right, we're gonna have to park La Liga there because we're probably running way over already in the running order. So let's go to Italy with Serie A. So on Friday, Como continues their excellent form as well, winning 2-0 at home to Sassuolo. On Saturday, Genoa got a precious victory, 2-1 at home against Hellas Verona, coming from a goal down to win that. Parma 0, Udinese 2. Juventus 2, Cagliari 1. Cagliari took the lead in that, and Juventus needed 2 goals from Yildiz to get to squeak a victory over the relegation threatened side. AC Milan 1, Lazio 0. A single goal by Rafael Leao. AC Milan seem to be turning up for the big matches. On Sunday, Lecce got a precious victory, 2-1 at home against Torino. Inter beat 1-2-0 at Pisa. Pisa managed to get to halftime 0-0, but 2 goals from Lautaro Martinez in the second half swung things that way. Atalanta 2, Fiorentina 0, a goal from Casuono and Lookman either side of halftime. And the big one, Roma 0, Napoli 1, single goal by David Neres, and Bologna Cremonese play tonight. So let's start with Roma Napoli. Napoli, it wasn't a great game to be honest, but Napoli did exactly what they needed to, and it probably showed a little bit of experience over a Roman side who maybe don't quite have that cutting edge against the top teams in Italy, because as you've pointed out in the notes, this is the third time they've lost against a title rival.
Yeah, they lost against AC Milan and Inter too this season. So
all three. So they've now lost all three against the title rivals, and yet they're only 1 point off the top. So remarkable to think that just like one draw against any of them, and they would still be top.
Yeah, and which is super exciting for the title. When you watch David Neres' goal from yesterday, it's strange. You can see it's kind of strange because Roma's defense is reputed to be super solid this season. They don't score a lot of goals, but they don't concede, and it was strangely easy for Neres to just go to the goal and score this single goal to ensure Napoli's the win. As you said, it wasn't a great game, but yeah, Napoli are doing great. They are now second in the league. They had. We have to note that they don't play with Kevin De Bruyne, who is injured and who will be for several months in the future. So, yeah, great Napoli team and good work. They have now nine wins in Serie A for only 3 defeats. So they can make maybe the back to back. They are likely to make it.
Well, looking at the top of the table, AC Milan on 28, joint top with Napoli, who are behind on goal difference. But of course, it doesn't really matter anymore because of the playoff. Inter are third on 27, level with Roma, and Bologna on fifth, level with Como on 24. Bologna play tonight. In fact, could go up to third place with a victory. A significant victory, I should probably say. So AC Milan are top, doing just enough against Lazio. Yeah, AC Milan are doing just enough, but you feel with the fact that they're not in Europe this year, which of course we keep talking about. But it does feel like they perhaps should have had more of an advantage considering they have no midweek games. It feels like teams like Inter and Napoli may well actually their form may improve as the season balances out in the next couple of months. Do you think so, or do you think AC Milan are actually building a bit of momentum?
I think both. They are building momentum without European football, but there will be, in my opinion, one big question during the second part of the season. It will be concerning the contract extension of Mike Maignan, who has been exceptional this season. Once again,
of course, AC Milan have a good track record of giving contracts to their extremely good goalkeepers in the final year, haven't they?
Yeah, that's why. And there are a lot of discussions. Fan would like him to stay, of course, but there are discussions. And if Maignan is to leave Milan, it will be it can be something to that distract the whole team. To be honest.
For those of you who don't know, by the way, I was making a glib remark about Gigi Donnarumma and how he departed AC Milan to Paris Saint-Germain. Okay, so I mean, Juventus just doing enough, Inter doing enough. It is looking fantastic. I mean, even so, I've included sort of Bologna in fifth, Como in sixth, who are only 4 points behind the leaders,
and even Juventus.
Juventus are 5 points behind, and then there's a bit of a gap. So it does feel like these are the 7 teams playing for European football and the title, and it could genuinely be in any order.
Yeah, that's what is exciting. You've mentioned European football, but in a certain world, Juventus can grab points and go top of the league, which is which is very incredible given their record. The question for Bologna and Como is to see that will they be able to continue on their form.
But it speaks highly about the coaching abilities of both Cesc Fabregas and who's the coach of Bologna? Is it Italiano?
Vincenzo Italiano, yeah.
Yeah. So it speaks highly about the fact that both of those coaches seem to be. They're not. This isn't by accident. Both of these teams play incredibly intelligent, clever football.
Yeah, you're right. I interviewed Maxence Cacré a few months ago, who was playing with at Como, and he talked to me about why he joined Como from Lyon and what is the role of Cesc Fabregas. And he told that he explained that the fact that Fabregas always wants to have the ball because he's of course a child of Barcelona, so he has the Barcelona ADN of Cruyff, Rexas, Guardiola, and every great coach coming from La Masia. And yeah, Maxence Cacré told me that the thing he particularly appreciate from Guardiola is the fact that he always desired to play with the ball, and that's something we are not really used to in Serie A, which is a league renowned for the defenses,
Mm.
tight game, and when you watch Como, you can feel that they really want to attack because it's one of the main pillar of Barcelona ID to attack, to have the ball, to have their 10 players the closest to the opposition goal. And this is something I think we can see when we watch Como. So very interesting team, and they have great quality players. For example, Nico Paz, who has
Mm.
now 5 goals and 5 assists in Serie A, who is heading to a return to Real Madrid next summer. But they got some very interesting players, experienced one. So this is a good mix, and maybe they will climb to the Champions League spot for
Only time will tell, but it's going to be
yeah.
exciting to follow it. Finally, before we move away from Serie A, another word on Fiorentina, whose form hasn't improved, and now sitting in 19th, they are 4 points behind Pisa, so the gap is now beginning to appear, especially after the victory for Lecce and Genoa, who have pulled away from them. So yeah, it's if Fiorentina are going to get themselves out of this, it kind of has to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I remember at the beginning of the season, we've said that maybe with the quality of the squad, the investments of the summer, and everything, Fiorentina will finally win games. But it's been 13 match days now, and they haven't. So of course the situation is difficult. It raises questions.
And it's crazy considering they had the top goal scoring Italian forward last year in Moise Kean.
Yeah, and I think he scores too this season, but I don't watch enough Fiorentina games to say precisely what are the problems. But the fact is that being behind Pizza, behind Parma, behind Lecce, behind Verona, it's concerning.
They are above Verona on goal difference, so I'll defend them
Yeah.
there. Okay, so let's pop off to Germany and the Das Bundesliga. So on Friday, Borussia Mönchengladbach, another clean sheet, but they didn't score 0-0 at home to RB Leipzig, but still an impressive result for Mönchengladbach as they repair their season. On Saturday, Bayern came from a goal down to defeat St. Pauli 3-1. St. Pauli scored in the 6th minute. And Bayern equalised just before half-time through Guerrero. And it took until stoppage time for Luis Diaz to score, and then Nicholas Jackson to add another to squeak the victory. Hoffenheim won 3-0 at home against Augsburg, all goals coming in the first half. Union Berlin 1, Heidenheim 2. This was a fun match. Union Berlin winning it until the 90th minute, and then Heidenheim turned it around. Relegation threatened Heidenheim, 2 goals in the last 6 minutes to steal the win. Werder Bremen drew at home 1-1 against Köln. Bayer Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund, perhaps the clash of the weekend, with Borussia Dortmund winning 2-1 at Leverkusen. On Sunday, Hamburger defeated Stuttgart 2-1. Another impressive result there. Frankfurt drew 1-1 with Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg getting a penalty in the 6th minute of stoppage time to steal a draw there, with Batshuayi equalising. And Freiburg won the last match of the weekend 4-0 at home against Mainz. So let's go to Leverkusen and talk about that match. That was a fantastic game against 2 very equal teams, which you've seen already with RB Leipzig against Dortmund as well. But this time, Dortmund actually showed a bit of grit and didn't wilt under pressure. They took a 2-goal lead, Anselmino and Adeyemi. Kofane pulled a goal back for Leverkusen. But yes, for once, Dortmund didn't fall in the face of pressure. Does that suggest they're growing, or have we been lulled into this false sense of security before?
I think this is the main point of this game. They held on after dropping points at the time in their last 2 Bundesliga games. It's obviously a great result. It was the kind of games we can say they are valued at 6 points, because the loser lose a lot
Mm.
when it's about title Champions League spots. You
Well,
mentioned
to support your point, Hoffenheim are now behind Bayer Leverkusen on goal difference alone, and that's Hoffenheim. I mean, who had a wonderful season last year and qualified for Europe. So obviously, this is not a nothing team, but still, Bayer Leverkusen ahead of Hoffenheim just on goal difference. So these are precious points, especially at home against the rivals for the Champions League.
Yeah. Um, and of course, it's a great result for Dortmund because they are now third. They are just 1 point behind Leipzig, who drawn at Gladbach. They have only one defeat this season, which is very very positive for them after because we know that they are used to drop points, drop victories when they absolutely need them to win the title. If you think about their games against was it Mainz 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago,
Oh yes,
on the
mine's
final day,
the 2-2. Yeah.
yeah, the
But we not as if we talk about that every other week. We don't mention that often. We don't like to rub that into Dortmund.
yeah, but we have to mention that Karim Adeyemi, who scored against Leverkusen, is in really good form. He scored in his last 3 games, so it helps to have this kind of performer because, for example, Guirassy didn't score against Leverkusen. So, if you have some players who can take the lead to do so, it's obviously a great advantage. So, great victory for Dortmund, who closed the gap with Leipzig.
Let's have a quick word on Bayern because they also conceded early and looked a bit not at their best, but I suppose they have the strength and depth to turn it around because obviously Luis Diaz in the 3rd minute stoppage time, Nicholas Jackson in the 6th minute stoppage time. 2 signings for them that will cost a combined total of about 130 million euros. So it's a chunky old bench for them. But having said that, they are now 8 points ahead in the title race. So we've been speaking about it a while, but Bayern are too strong, aren't they, this year?
Yeah, they are, especially since they hit the woodwork 3 times during this game, so they could have win more.
Very good point.
But the thing to note is that they were once again behind on the scoreboard because it was St. Pauli who scored first against Freiburg. Last week they were trailing 2-0. They lost to Arsenal this week, so they conceded a lot of goals. And we talk about Bayern because they are leaders, but the situation of St. Pauli is absolutely terrible. Yeah, they have now lost 9 games in a row in Bundesliga.
In the league.
So,
in the league.
Yeah, in Bundesliga. So
weirdly, they won a cup game in between that, but yeah, they 9. So you're absolutely right. That was going to be one of my questions for you later. 9 league matches in the row, officially the worst form across all 5 major European leagues.
And yet, they are just 3 points away from the 14th.
Well, they're only 2 points. They're only 2 points behind Wolfsburg, actually. And Wolfsburg are in safety because obviously the Bundesliga only have 2 relegation spots in the playoff. So not all a foregone conclusion, but they have definitely been plummeting. Anything else you want to say about the Bundesliga before we move on? Maybe just a quick word on Stuttgart, who have looked so good this season, and yet a damaging loss away at Hamburger. It looked like they turned things around. Glatzel opened the scoring for Hamburger in the first half. Undav equalised in the second half, and then with 10 minutes to go, Hamburg had a man sent off, Rösing Lillesitz, for his second yellow card. And yet, Stuttgart, not only did they not find a way through, but Hamburg managed to steal a victory in the 4th minute of stoppage time through Fabio Vieira, the lesser spotted Fabio Vieira. So, first of all, hell of a ending for Hamburg, but also really disappointing for Stuttgart. It feels like they let that one slip.
Yeah, and they won. You've mentioned it. They won at 10 men against 11 because they scored after their player being sent off. Even Denis Undav, who has now scored 6 goals in his last 3 games, couldn't prevent them from losing. Uh, it's funny. I didn't even know that Fabio Vera was playing at Hamburg, so
Mm.
it's funny to see that. Um, it's good for them because this season they are inconsistent, but against big teams they are okay because they beat Stuttgart. They didn't lose against Dortmund. They they drawn against Union Berlin. Their biggest loss is against Bayern Munich, but as everyone else, I want to say. So it's a good thing for them to have win this and a good opportunity to take points from the relegation zone too.
All right, so let's park that there. And for the last trip around Europe, we're going to France and Ligue 1. Metz's return to their regular form continues on Friday night as they lost 1-0 at home to Rennes. Although Rennes themselves on a wonderful turn of form. That is now their fourth win in a row in Ligue, I believe. On Saturday, Monaco continued to be the most frustrating team in the league. They've been terrible for so long, and yet somehow they just defeated Paris Saint-Germain 1-0, a goal from Minamino, before Kera got sent off with 10 minutes to go. But they held on for the victory against the French champions. Paris FC won, Auxerre won. Marseille, excellent form, but they lost. Sorry, they didn't lose it. They drew 2-2 at home to Toulouse. But Toulouse equalised in the second minute of stoppage time. So Marseille narrowly avoiding victory there. And on Sunday, Strasbourg, a damaging loss at home to Brest, who came from a goal behind to win this. Lens, excellent 2-1 victory at Angers. Lille, actually, they've returned to form as well, winning 1-0 at Le Havre. The only goal coming from a late Igamane winner in the 88th minute. Lorient, an impressive Lorient win, actually, the relegation threatened side, winning 3-1 at home against Nice. Nice doing Nice things, but very badly. And Lyon finally get the monkey off their back with a victory, 3-0 at home against Nantes, although it was 0 at half-time, and Nantes had a man sent off in the 43rd minute. Right, so let's talk about, first of all, we have a new leader. We have a new leader in Ligue 1, and it is Lens.
Yeah,
Lens.
and really deserve, to be honest, because we've talked about it about them since the start to the season. They sold a lot of important players this summer. They changed their manager, and yet they they are doing really great in the league. It's the first time in 24 years they are leader in Liga, so it's a true event. They have beaten a really interesting Angers team this weekend. Sorry. So yeah, Lens really deserve to be at that place, especially since PSG have lost to Monaco and Marseille draw to Toulouse. So this is the opportunity to get on top, and it's more than deserved, to be honest.
They took their opportunity to for the victory to leap over Paris Saint-Germain. Marseille did not. As I mentioned before, Toulouse equalising the second minute of stoppage time through Hidalgo. And that was only not long after Højbjerg gave Marseille the lead. Marseille, were they showing a bit of a hangover after their midweek victory against Newcastle? I mean, that was a big evening. It was very emotional, but it probably would have taken its toll, yeah?
I don't really know because I think Toulouse were playing with a lot of missing players. Marseille are obviously a better team. They were playing at home, but it was as against Angers a few weeks ago when they had the opportunity to take the lead of Ligue 1. They conceded an equalizer in added time after having taken the lead in the second half, which was really funny, to be honest, because I think they scored their second goal at the 75th minute by Højbjerg, and
it's very good. 74th, almost perfect. Well done.
And Højbjerg, he just took off his shirt like he had won the Champions League. So it was really funny. And of course, with 20 minutes left to play, don't do that, please. But he did. And
Richarlison has the habit of doing that, doesn't he? For Spurs, he has a habit of ripping off his shirt and actually then not winning the match. Okay, so I mean, also we should probably mention the Paris Saint-Germain have dropped points regularly this season, or semi-regularly. And it does feel like every single time so far, all their competitors, all their rivals have also dropped points. So it feels great that Lens have actually responded well. They've managed to actually get the victory. And it was the day after, so they were aware of what the results were from Marseille and Paris Saint-Germain. So Lens had the opportunity to get to first place, and they took it. Which also speaks well about their mindset, the ability to handle that pressure and the ability to sort of respond to it.
Yeah, it's of course a great performance from Lens, especially given the fact that they lost one of their best defender this week, struggling. A fracture from his not his leg, but a part of his leg. So it was. They said they want to play and to win for him, to honor him, and they did so because PSG lost the day before after another disappointing performance. Once more during this early season. You've mentioned Monaco, and they are impossible to understand because they are really capable of stringing together poor results against weaker opponents, and yet beat PSG. Even if we have to mention that Monaco should have been a Monaco player should have been sent off after a terrible tackle on Lucas Chevalier in the first half, but he didn't, and Monaco made the most of it, scoring from with Minamino. So tonight they are 6 in Ligue 1. They gave Marseille and Lens the opportunity to lead the table. Only Lens seized it. And for PSG, there are obviously significant absentees. We can talk about Nuno Mendes and Achraf Hakimi, who are, in my opinion, the most important players for them, but also Ousmane Dembélé, who just entered as a substitute, and Désiré Doué. But that doesn't justify everything, because obviously some individuals, for example, Lucas Chevalier, who replaced Gianluigi Donnarumma this summer, is below the expected level. We can also talk about Ilya Zabarny coming from Bournemouth for 62 million euros. He has been he has known difficulties these past weeks when he played. So even the midfield, which is the biggest, the strongest point of PSG, got troubles this week. So there are some problems.
And the final word before we bid au revoir to Ligue 1, we should probably bid adieu to Nice, who have now lost 4 matches in the league in a row, which makes that's the 3rd worst form across all the 5 teams, behind Wolves and St. Pauli. So not a great time. And they even took the lead against relegation-threatened Lorient, and yet lost 3-1, which I think speaks volumes. But let's park Ligue 1 there. Merci, Ligue 1. Right, so we're now, before we finish, we've got the 3 things you may have missed this week. Would you like to contribute one? Then I'll contribute one. Then you contribute one.
Okay, the first, of course, is the fact that Flamengo won the Copa Libertadores on Saturday. against Palmeiras. So thanks to a goal from Danilo, the former Manchester City, Juventus, Real Madrid, Porto player. And do you know who the coach of Flamengo is? I think you know.
Oh, I do, but I've forgotten it.
A
Go
Chelsea
on.
legend.
Just say
No,
it.
not a Chelsea legend, of course, but it's Felipe Luis, the
Oh,
former
yes, of course.
fullback
Yeah, yeah,
who
yeah.
played. He played more than 300 games for Atletico de Madrid. He's a young coach, so it's a great reward for him to win this prestigious title. For those who don't know what is the Copa Libertadores, it's the same thing as the Champions League, but for South American football.
Terrific, and what an achievement. I'm going to contribute one. So we're actually we're staying in England, but it's not the Premier League. We're going to look at the Championship table, because obviously we've spoken a lot about how congested the Premier League table is from Manchester City in second to Fulham in 15th. There is only 8 points difference, which is insane. But if you think that's incredible, look at the Championship table and you'll see, oh my goodness, it is tight, tight, tight. Well, actually, so first of all, Frank Lampard's Coventry are 10 points clear at the top of the table, which is remarkable. But then from Middlesbrough in second to Charlton in 17th are only 10 points. But if you say third, from the top of the playoffs, third to 17th is only 8 points, which is the same as the one I said in the Premier League, but an extra 3 places. Also, keep an eye on Wrexham, who only conceded 1 goal in the entire of November, and they are now only 3 points behind the playoff places.
That's interesting.
What's the last one? What's the third?
Yeah, I got 2, but
we can do 4 things. We could miss 4 things. That's fine.
Okay. So the first is the fact that Inter Miami won the first conference final in their history.
Oh, cool. And they're playing Vancouver Whitecaps in the final. Is that
and
right?
they will
Thomas Mullers.
Yeah, and that's precisely the fact that I wanted to highlight. It will be a chance to see a rematch of the 2014 World Cup final between Thomas Müller and Lionel Messi. So it will be interesting. And for the last thing you may have missed this week, let's go to Norway, where Viking FK managed to edge out Bodø Glimt. So a team we are used to see in the European competition. We're playing Champions League football this season. They won their first title since 1991.
Wow.
So the fact is that they will compete in the Champions League playoffs next season. So congratulations.
I mean, honestly, it sounds a bit bizarre saying this, but genuinely, if anybody watching this, look at the tables for Sweden and Norway. It's fantastic. Yeah. The Swedish one has just been won by basically a fishing village who...
Mjolby.
15 years. Yeah, we were only about 15 years ago. We're basically bankrupt in the 3rd division of Swedish football. It's incredible what's happening in Scandinavian football. Right, let's end on trivial trivia. Do you have one for me this week?
I got one. Do you know what team is? What team has registered the most clean sheet in the top 5 in Europe?
Ooh, clean sheets. Well, I mean, my instinct would have said Arsenal, considering they had a long period of not conceding. But that makes me think that they're not. I'm going to guess they're second then. Clean sheets. Oh, you know what? I am going to go for... I'm going to go for Lens.
And no, it's Lyon.
Really?
Yeah, Lyon managed to register 12 clean sheets this season.
Oh, is this in all competitions, or is this just the league?
No, just the league. In all competitions, sorry. So yeah, it's.
I was going for league. Damn you!
Sorry. Yeah, I didn't precise. You're right.
But No, I mean, Lance might not be the right answer. Okay, in that case, I'm going to give you my question before we finish, and we've just got to scrape over an hour again. So, if St. Pauli have the longest losing streak in all the top 5 leagues, losing 9 in a row, which club has the longest winning streak in the top 5 European leagues? So, third place. Actually, no, I told you who second was. It was Villarreal was second with 5 wins in a row. Who's top?
Just in league, is not in all.
Just in the league. Yeah. I'm being clear. Just league.
I would like to say Liverpool, but I don't think so. Sorry, Reds.
Their lengthy win streak of 1. Yeah.
No, but and what? How many games?
6.
Villarreal? 6.
Oh, sorry. Villarreal have won 5 in a row. The team in first have won 6 in a row.
Okay. And does it include draws?
No. This is a winning run. So
just winning
wins in a row.
Okay.
Yeah. So for context, in third
it's
place,
not Arsenal, of course.
No, in third place, it's 4 wins in a row is tied between Barcelona, Lens, and Rennes.
Okay.
They've had 4 wins in a row. Second place is Villarreal on 5. So who's top? 6 wins in a row.
Maybe Milan, no? Or Como?
No, in La Liga.
In La Liga. Wait. Real Betis?
No,
so Atletico. I don't have any idea. Oh, yes.
Atletico, 6 wins in a row, but also speaks volumes that the top 3 win streaks are Atletico, Villarreal, and Barcelona, which really puts context into the momentum that they've had to catch up Real Madrid, who seemed quite comfortable, and yet now those teams have completely launched at them, which is really surprising. But yeah, 6 league wins in a row for Atletico. So much for a bad start to the season. In a couple of weeks, they may be top. And on that note, we're going to end there. Thank you so much. Merci, Léo.
Thank you, Daniel.
Well, I will see you next week. In fact, it's going to be a hell of a midweek as well in the Premier League. So we'll probably have to allot an extra bit of time for the English Premier League.
And also in La Liga, maybe in Serie A also.
So okay, warning everybody, next week will be slightly longer if it's already too long as it is. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, there's our X down there. That's our YouTube. Subscribe, follow, do all of it. Smear it on your skin. It'll make you look younger. Thank you once again, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks,
have a great
everybody. Week. Goodbye.